On a quiet Wednesday in the middle of July 2024, a single Instagram post from a verified royal account managed to do what years of royal watching gossip never could. It put the private life of a Dubai princess on every front page in the world within hours. No press conference. No statement from a palace spokesperson. Just a black background, white text, and a message that read like nothing anyone had seen from a member of the Al Maktoum family before. The account belonged to Sheikha Mahra bint Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, the only daughter born from a marriage between Dubai's ruler, Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, and his former wife, the Greek-born Zoe Grigorakos. In that post, Mahra announced that she was ending her marriage to her husband, Sheikh Mana bin Mohammed bin Rashid bin Mana Al Maktoum, and she did it by invoking a centuries-old Islamic practice that is almost never used by a woman. Before we get into what she said and why it mattered so much, it's worth understanding who she is, how her marriage began, and why her story became a talking point far beyond the Gulf. This video sticks to what has actually been confirmed through her own social media posts and credible reporting. Some parts of this story, particularly what caused the split and what happened to her ex-husband afterward, have never been officially confirmed by either family. We'll be upfront about which is which as we go. Sheikha Mahra was born in February 1994, the only child from her father's marriage to Zoe Grigorakos. Her mixed Emirati and Greek heritage shaped much of her upbringing, and she has spoken openly about her connection to both cultures. Unlike many of her half-sisters, who make up a large extended family since her father has been married multiple times and has more than 24 children, Mahra has generally lived a more visible and modern public life. She pursued higher education, graduating from university in 2023 with a degree in international relations, and she has cultivated interests in equestrianism and fashion, appearing on magazine covers and walking a more Western-leaning path than some of her relatives. Her father, Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, is one of the most powerful men in the Gulf. He has served as the Vice President and Prime Minister of the United Arab Emirates and as the ruler of Dubai since 2006, following the death of his brother. Before that, his political career stretched back to the 1990s, when he was named Crown Prince of Dubai and began steering the emirate away from a purely oil-dependent economy toward tourism, real estate, and international finance. Under his direction, Dubai transformed from a regional trading port into a global hub for tourism, finance, and real estate, home to landmarks like the Burj Khalifa, Palm Jumeirah, and an ever-expanding metro and airport system. He is known for balancing an image as a modernizing statesman with the more traditional, and at times controversial, role of head of a large royal household that includes multiple wives and dozens of children. Some of his other daughters, including Sheikha Shamsa and Sheikha Latifa, became internationally known in earlier years after reports and a UK court's fact-finding judgment concluded that they had been forcibly returned to Dubai following attempts to leave the country in 2000 and 2018 respectively. Those cases, which involve allegations of abduction on foreign soil, drew scrutiny from human rights groups and foreign governments and remain part of the broader public conversation about the family, even though they are legally and factually separate from Mahra's story. It's an important distinction to make because a lot of online commentary tends to blur these different daughters' experiences together. Mahra's path has looked very different from theirs. She has traveled, studied abroad, appeared at international fashion events, and posted openly about her life in a way that would have been unthinkable for some of her half-sisters. Mahra's relationship with Sheikh Mana became public in early 2023, when their engagement was announced through official channels. Sheikh Mana is also a member of the extended Al Maktoum family and runs several businesses, including ventures in real estate development and trading. He has spoken in the past about his interests in falconry, motorsport, and horses, hobbies that overlap with Mahra's own love of equestrian sport. The couple held their Katb al-Kitab, the formal Islamic marriage contract signing, in the spring of 2023, and followed it with a large wedding reception in Dubai in June of that year. Coverage of the event appeared in regional fashion magazines, describing an elegant white gown and a lavish celebration befitting two prominent royal families. Later that year, the couple announced they were expecting their first child, sharing an ultrasound image on Instagram with a caption celebrating the milestone. In May 2024, Sheikha Mahra gave birth to a daughter, and both parents posted messages online describing the arrival as one of the happiest moments of their lives. By every visible measure, from the engagement announcement to the wedding photos to the birth of their daughter, the marriage looked like a fairy tale unfolding in real time on social media, the kind of story that Gulf royal watchers and international tabloids alike had been following closely for more than a year. That is what made the July 2024 post so jarring. Roughly 2 months after welcoming her daughter, Sheikha Mahra posted a message to her Instagram account addressed directly to her husband. The message accused him of being occupied with, in her words, other companions, and stated that she was declaring their divorce, repeating the phrase, "I divorce you," 3 times before signing off as his ex-wife. That repetition was not just dramatic flourish. It referenced a specific practice in Islamic law known as triple talaq, in which a person ends a marriage by stating the word talaq, meaning divorce, 3 times. Traditionally, this method has been used almost exclusively by husbands to divorce their wives, a practice that has drawn criticism and has actually been banned in a number of countries, including India, for being weighted heavily in favor of men. Legal commentators quoted at the time noted that under standard interpretations of Sharia law, a wife seeking a divorce typically has to file a formal case and go through mediation rather than issue a unilateral declaration. By using this language herself, Mahra was doing something legal experts described as highly unusual, effectively inverting a tradition that had historically excluded women from that kind of authority. Within hours of the post, both Mahra and Sheikh Mahra appeared to remove all photos of each other from their respective Instagram accounts. Neither Sheikh Mahra nor Sheikh Mohammed issued any public statement addressing the announcement, and the government media office in Dubai did not respond to media inquiries about it either. That silence from a family, combined with the extraordinary nature of the post itself, is part of why the story spread as fast as it did. Some commenters online initially speculated that Mahra's account might have been compromised, but there was never any official indication of a hack, and the post remained live for days without correction or retraction. News outlets around the world picked the story up within a day, from regional publications across the Gulf to major international press. Part of what fueled the speed of the coverage was timing. The post came less than 2 years after the couple's wedding and only a couple of months after the birth of their daughter, so the contrast between the celebratory tone of their earlier posts and the blunt finality of this one was jarring to anyone who had followed the relationship. Adding to the intrigue, eagle-eyed followers noted that weeks before the announcement, Mahra had shared a photo of herself and her daughter captioned simply as the two of them, rather than the family captions she had used before, which some later pointed to as an early, quiet signal that something had shifted. The public reaction was immediate and largely sympathetic to Mahra. Social media users, particularly women across the Middle East and beyond, praised her for speaking so plainly and for taking control of the narrative around her own marriage in a region where royal women are typically expected to keep their personal lives private. Comments calling her move iconic and empowering circulated widely, framing the post as a rare and public rejection of a double standard, since the very practice she invoked had for centuries been available only to men. It's worth being careful here about what is actually known and what is speculation. The post itself alleges that her husband was involved with other people, but beyond her own words, there has been no independent confirmation of infidelity, and Sheikh Mahra has never publicly responded to the accusation. Various tabloid outlets floated theories in the days that followed, including unverified claims about Sheikh Mahra's social circle or supposed consequences he may have faced within the royal family, such as rumors of being restricted from official events. None of that has been confirmed by any official source, and we're not going to present speculation as fact. What is confirmed is simply this. Mahra made a public accusation. She ended the marriage through an unconventional legal declaration, and neither her ex-husband nor her father has ever gone on record about the specifics. A few weeks after the divorce announcement, Sheikha Mahra shared something else on Instagram that added a new layer to the story. She posted a message thanking her father for his support, describing him as a source of strength during a difficult period and praising what she called an era that stood for fairness. It was a rare, direct, and public acknowledgement of her father's role in her life at a moment when she was clearly going through something difficult. Then, in September 2024, Mahra announced she was launching her own perfume brand called Mahra M1. Her debut fragrance carried a name that immediately caught attention: Divorce. The teaser campaign leaned into striking, dramatic imagery, a black panther, shattered glass, and dark rose petals, before revealing a sleek black bottle with the word divorce printed across the front in white lettering. She described a line which eventually included a hair and body spray and a scented powder, alongside the core fragrance, as a collection built around what she called true gender equality, appealing to men and women alike. The launch was, by most measures, a marketing success. It generated global headlines, extensive coverage in fashion and lifestyle press, and widespread commentary online about a woman literally bottling and selling the story of her own separation rather than trying to hide it. Supporters framed it as an act of reclaiming a painful chapter of her life and turning it into something she controlled. It also cemented Mahra's image, already growing from her divorce announcement, as one of the more outspoken and unconventional figures among Gulf royal women, someone willing to put deeply personal experiences on public display in a way that most of her relatives never have. Pricing details that circulated at launch put the flagship fragrance at roughly 1,000 dirhams, with a companion hair and body spray and a scented powder price lower, positioning the collection at the higher end of the regional luxury fragrance market rather than as a novelty item. When the brand's website went live a week or so after the initial teaser, Mahra described the collection in a statement as reflecting genuine equality between men and women, a theme that tied the product directly back to the message she had sent with her original divorce post. Whether intentionally or not, the branding turned a moment of personal upheaval into an extended public narrative arc, from the initial declaration to the thank you note to her father to a finished commercial product, all unfolding across just a few months on the same Instagram account that started it. The most consequential development to come out of the divorce announcement wasn't about Sheikh Mahra at all. It was that Mahra's post caught the attention of Moroccan-American rapper French Montana, who reportedly reached out through a mutual connection after seeing her divorce announcement go viral. The two were later seen together in Dubai in the months that followed, sparking persistent dating rumors that neither side confirmed for some time. By August 2025, those rumors were settled. A formal announcement confirmed that Sheikha Mahra and French Montana were engaged, with reports indicating he had proposed following a Paris Fashion Week appearance earlier that summer. The engagement drew its own wave of international attention, adding another chapter to a story that started with a black Instagram post and a phrase borrowed from Islamic legal tradition. As for Sheikh Mahra, he has largely stayed out of the public eye since 2024. He has not issued any public statement addressing the divorce, the infidelity allegation, or the rumors that circulated about his standing within the royal family afterward. Any claims about formal consequences he may or may not have faced remain unconfirmed and should be treated as speculation rather than fact, no matter how often they get repeated online. What makes Sheikha Mahra's story stand out isn't just the drama of a royal divorce. Plenty of those have played out in public before. It's the method she chose. By invoking triple talaq herself, she took a legal tool historically reserved for men and used it to end her own marriage on her own terms, in full public view, without waiting for permission from anyone. Legal scholars have noted that her use of the practice doesn't necessarily carry formal legal weight under Sharia procedure, but symbolically, it landed exactly where she intended it to. It sparked genuine conversation about gender roles within Islamic family law and about how much or how little royal women in the Gulf are expected to keep private. Whatever was actually happening behind closed doors in that marriage, and we may never get the full picture since neither party has spoken about it in detail, Sheikha Mahra turned one of the more difficult moments of her life into a very public statement and then into an actual business. That combination of vulnerability and control is a large part of why this story kept circulating long after the initial post disappeared from most people's feeds and why it's still being talked about today. That's the story, as far as it's actually been confirmed. What do you think about how Sheikha Mahra handled it? Let us know in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more.